Hi, everyone. This is Pam Torrey from Ingage, and you're listening to the Engaged podcast. We know tech is changing the way people market and sell now more than ever. And on this show, I sit down with sales and marketing thought leaders and experts to learn how you can create, share, and measure your way to success. Today, I am really excited to be sitting down with one of our first partners, Steve Spence, the Managing Director of ProjectMapIt, to talk about personalization in the sales process and much, much more. Thanks for joining us today, Steve.
Well, thank you, Pam, for having me. We love being partners with you. I just was with Charlie over at Ingage at an event in Nashville, Tennessee. Flew back about an hour ago.
Yeah, our audience knows Charlie. He's been on the podcast before. He's also a frequent mention on the podcast.
He is the man.
Yes, he is Engage famous. That's what I call him. So Steve, we know and love ProjectMapIt, but for those who aren't familiar with you, can you share what ProjectMapIt does and what your role is there?
Yeah, so I'm the managing director. Our company we have 5 partners in our company. I'm the only one, though, that has been with ProjectMapIt since the beginning and the only one that actually works full time. So I am ProjectMapIt with a great team that's a small team, but we get along great. And life is good in the ProjectMapIt household. As far as what ProjectMapIt is, we're an interactive mapping portfolio. So imagine a map with all of your past work pinned to it to help you sell to new prospects. And just real quick overview, you can have all the pins can have project photos on it. So all the work you've done can be there. The map is interactive. It's filterable by product color, services you provide. So if you're a roofing company looking for a specific shingle color, your sales rep or a homeowner has quick access to that. Bathroom remodelers, we have every kind of contractor out there, and it gets embedded on your website, but it's a great sales tool. And we work great with none other than Ingage, one of our best partners, we like to say, because our map can live right into a slide on one of your sales decks.
Yeah, so we know that the ProjectMapIt platform is designed to really showcase the company's best work. We work together with a number of our manufacturing partners to create really specific ProjectMapIt pages for them that then live in their Engage presentations. Could you share some examples of how this feature, this showcasing ability, has helped businesses to really show their value to potential clients and how it's led to them closing deals faster? I think that might be a disconnect for some folks, and I'd love to hear you talk about how that works.
Contractors are presenting to digital natives more and more. People that grew up with iPads in their faces, on the computer, phones in their hand, being able to Google you in a split second. So it's real important to consider how you start to present to them. And one way that our product does is it allows a contractor to be able to quickly access jobs that are relevant to that prospect that they're in the home sitting at the kitchen table with, right? So I'm a bathroom remodeler and I'm looking for a specific type of bath or specific type of accessory in a bath, chrome accessories and things like that. I can click on a filter that literally will take you directly to those projects that are relevant. So, it becomes a real wow factor and aha moment for the homeowner because they're able to dive into exactly what they're looking for. So if you're a roofing company and somebody's looking at a pewter and a charcoal black, which is part of my story later on, and you can pull up photos of, pewter color shingles on houses instead of just having the shingle board, it really does become an aha moment and it really makes you stand out over your competitors that are also providing free estimates to that same homeowner. So it's kind of how to leverage your past work, right? I ask people all the time, Pam, hey, how many photos do you have on your phone right now? They're like thousands. I'm like, what do you do with them? I mean, I take them and I have them for later use. Sometimes contractors are trying to scroll through to find that specific job that's relevant to that prospect that they're presenting to in the home. And our product just gives quick access to all of that information.
So you talked a little bit about showing homeowners the kinds of products that they're interested in. So I'd like to dig a little bit deeper into that personalization element. You're not showing a homeowner every single shingle that's available. You're showing them the ones that are interested to them. You're showing them the ones that are in their neighborhood. Like we've all seen the reports that buyers want that personalized experience. What advice can you give to sales reps on how they can work that sort of personalization into their sales process? Like just from the experience you have of talking to all of these contractors, what advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I actually was just on a call with one of our customers right before this, and I shared with them a couple things. And again, they had an aha moment. They're like, yeah, I didn't even think about that. So to personalize things, there are a few things. One thing to understand is 57% of that buying process is done before your sales rep even knocks on that door, right? And again, that's because people are Googling you. People are looking at your website. People are going to your social media. They're checking you out. They know how to do it quicker than anybody.
They're totally stalking you on the internet. It's just how it goes. You are on the internet. They
Yeah, I
check your
just got it.
Facebook, your Instagram, your LinkedIn, you're everywhere.
Exactly. I just got a new HVAC unit. My system just it was on in Maryland. I live in Maryland. There were 3 days of the hottest weather about a month ago, and sure enough, my unit went down. So the first thing I did was HVAC company near me, right? Roofer near me, pool company near me, and found Cornet Heating and Cooling. Um, First thing I looked at was how many Google reviews they had. They had 300 Google reviews. To me as a homeowner, I'm like, damn, that's legit. Like this person got 300 reviews. I mean, they've got to be good. And it was a 5-star. I think they had a perfect 5-star. So that's the first company I called. But I went to their website. I checked it out. Funny enough, just a little plug. They're now using ProjectMapIt. They came out and fixed my unit, and I sold them ProjectMapIt. But yeah, people are stalking you online. So before your reps even go out there, people are doing that. So how do you personalize it? Well, there are a couple of things, and some of this I learned, funny enough, from Ingage, watching Charlie and some people presenting, you, Pam, as well. But getting in front of them before they even knock on the door is a good way of doing it. I asked my customer I was just talking to before this podcast, hey, what do you do? Do you send out a pre-appointment email? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, what does it say? And they're like, I mean, it says it's just confirming the time and date that our sales reps are going out there. I said, okay, would you ever consider maybe putting a video of your sales rep introducing themselves before they even knock on that door? Like, so in the email, hey, Stephanie is going to be at your house at Thursday at 2:00. Get to meet Stephanie by clicking on the link below, and also look at our portfolio of past work by clicking on the link below. You can see locations we've serviced, photos of the jobs we've done. You can even filter it by the type of job that you're looking to do at your own house. And just then the lady was like, oh, I didn't even think about putting a video of my sales rep. That's actually a really good idea. And you can do all of that just with one link if you create a pre-appointment sales deck through Ingage, which is what my company, ProjectMapIt, does, right? Like, so when somebody sets an appointment with ProjectMapIt, an Ingage link goes out that says, hey, take a look at this deck. You're going to get to learn what to expect on the demo. So as a contractor, sending out a pre-appointment email with a link to an Ingage confirmation deck with a video of the sales rep with the map, ProjectMapIt embedded on it or whatever, the video itself brings a human element, right? So again, personalizing sometimes means making that personal connection before they even knock on the door. So my video says, hey, I'm Steve. I've got a wife, 2 kids. My son's a lacrosse player. My daughter's a swimmer. And Pam, you'd be surprised. It's not every time, but I'd say 2 out of every 10 demos that I hop on, people are like, my daughter's a swimmer too. Or, hey, you're someplace lacrosse. Where do you live? Is it Maryland? And it brings up like that initial conversation that just kind of lessens the load of the fact that I'm there to sell them something, right? And I'll be quick. I'm sorry, but to answer your question, when you're at the in-home sales appointment, that's when you really need to leverage, personalized things that are relevant to that homeowner. A company doesn't care about looking at a bathroom when they're looking to get a pool or whatever landscaping job, whatever they're getting done. So being able to have quick access to all that information is important. Specifically, also reviews, right? Like people want to see that you've got good reviews. So if you're at that in-home sales appointment, you say, hey, I just want you to know that we've got 300 reviews here, and click on a little button and it shows all 300 reviews. That a lot of times will make the difference because of the stats behind reviews.
Yeah, I think something I say all the time is how do you create custom experiences out of consistent content? And I think that the idea of having a video, that's consistent content that you're going to send to every single one of the customers who meets with that rep. But it feels very personal. It feels like a custom experience for that customer. And like same thing with ProjectMapIt, they're filtering for what they're looking for. So it's a consistent piece of content, but they're creating a custom experience when they interact with it.
And videos, as you know, Pam, create there's a lot of retention when somebody is showing somebody things visually, whether that's an image or a video. When you leave that house, they're going to remember you, right? There's the whole statistic. I mean, Charlie did his presentation yesterday, and I followed up with Charlie, and literally we had some of the same statistics and some of the same information that we were presenting, which is you want to be remembered. And one way a human being, I was a teacher for 20 years, so I can speak to this very much. A human being will retain 80% of the information when provided it visually, right? So for the contractor that's watching this, that goes into a home and they're, I still talk to old school contractors like, yeah, I mean, we have a shingle board and we just talk through the process. I don't like sitting at the table and all that stuff. Well, I have to just be very transparent and honest with you. I was going to save this for later, but being a teacher of 20 years, the way I taught students in 1998 was a lot different than the way I taught students in 2010. I had to evolve because the students were evolving. Again, digital natives, you have to speak their language. And so nowadays, going into a house and just talking it out when you're competing against other people, it's not going to work as well anymore. You're going to convert more if you have a professional presentation like Ingage, a visual product like ProjectMapIt.
Yeah, I always joke that like when I was in like 7th grade science, I remember everything that Bill Nye taught me with his videos. I remember nothing that was in a textbook. So I remember everything Bill Nye told me.
And so I was a math teacher, right? That's like out of the 4 core. Yeah. Right. So I was a math teacher, and out of the 4 core courses, math was like the worst, right? Like nobody wanted to go to math. And by the end of the year, or not even the end of the year, by the end of the first month, people were like, Dad, this is my favorite class, because we had iPads in the classroom. I was like technology teacher of the year. At one point, I had iPads. We presented visually. The kids learned because they retained the information we were giving them.
And that's, at the end of the day, like we want to, I think this leads really well into my next question. Like we want to leverage technology to stay current with the evolution that's happening both in society as well as in the home improvement industry. So I do have a couple questions for you. It's a two-parter. At first, what has your experience been in regards to the impact that tech changes have had on the sales and marketing landscape, specifically in home improvement? And then secondly, how is ProjectMapIt staying at the forefront of these trends?
Okay. So first question, how is tech kind of transforming the sales and marketing process? Was that it?
Yeah. How is it transforming it in the home improvement space?
So I think the one word I would use, and what probably a lot of contractors are starting to recognize and are feeling, is overwhelmed. So I'm going to be honest with that. Like, it's an overwhelming thing to recognize as a contractor. Damn, the way I used to do things is a little different. I need to change things up. I need to do things a little differently. The people are expecting more from us, right? Like if you're a digital native and you grew up on iPads or whatever, computers, internet, Google reviews, before it was just word of mouth. Well, reviews are now the new word of mouth. People literally will Google your name and see that you have 13 reviews, and they'll see another company 5 miles down the road has 500 reviews. Who are they going to pick? Right. So I think some people, it's a little bit of a wake up call. It has been a trend, like you just said, over the last 3 years, where the shift of old school ways and new school ways are appearing for contractors. And it's overwhelming because you have a tech stack, right? There's not one technology for the home improvement industry that does everything. They don't do like the bookkeeping and the marketing and the CRMing, that there isn't all of that, right?
Yeah, your software that takes the photos of your jobs is not the same software that does your financing applications. It's not the same thing.
Correct. So you have to find the technology stack that's going to work best for you.
So we have had a storied relationship with each other over the last few years, and ProjectMapIt and Ingage have really come together to help our customers to close more deals. Can you talk more about how our platforms complement each other in enhancing the sales and marketing process, and what advantages does this collaboration offer to contractors looking to streamline their ops?
Yeah. So this is where I'm going to tell my story. And
I'm excited. I'm ready.
It's not a super long story, but it's a good story that talks about both our products working together in collaboration. One of our mutual companies O'Leary Roofing. They're out of Northern Pennsylvania.
They're a great
Um,
group.
they're amazing. Love them. Stefan Vasquez. I'm going to give a shout out to him because he's been a real big pillar in this. He's their top sales performer. Him and I have had a really good relationship over the last 2 years. And one time Stefan was like, why don't you come up on a roof inspection with me? We use Ingage. Obviously, we put ProjectMapIt on there. I was like, heck yeah. So I got my car and I thought it was a 2 hour drive, but it ended up being like a 3.5 hour drive, but that's okay. I drove up and kind of hung out with Stefan all day and got to go on a roof inspection with him, which was the highlight of my career probably so far. I know it sounds, roofers are probably looking at me like I'm an idiot, but like it was pretty cool to
The
finally
roofers are
experience
laughing
it.
at all of us, so don't worry.
They are stupid software people. Um, so yeah, I got, so here's my story. I had an O'Leary roofing shirt on. I was tagging along with Stefan. The homeowner thought I was just an O'Leary roofing kind of like newbie that was learning the tricks of the trade. And, Stefan, I met the husband and wife. They had a dog. It was great. We get up on the, some shout out to Company Cam on this story too. We get up on the roof. Stefan opens up his Company Cam app and takes some pictures of Company Cam with his Company Cam app. We go inside the house. He kind of peers up in the attic. They had a small little attic space, but he peered up, snapped some pictures with Company Cam. And at that point, it was time to sit at the table with the husband and wife. And so I'm sitting there. It was cool. He had the iPad and it was on like a swivel. I didn't know they had these, but it was a swivel iPad stand. So he swivels it to him and he's kind of looking over there and he's swiping through and he's going through his whole story, right? They were GF presidential. They went through the storyline. They had some GF pages that they created, the company storyline, the community services that they provide to the community and things like that. And I always understood that it was like 2 or 3 hours for a roof inspection. Stefan, he was done the inspection within probably 20 minutes and we sat at the table for 25 minutes and then we gabbed for another 10 minutes, right? But at the table, and just to kind of give everybody an idea, and I've heard Sebastian at Rilla talk about this as well, and I think you're a partner with Rilla as well, correct?
Yes, we
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
We also
So
have an integration with them.
yeah, so there we go. So see, like again, all of us aligning together makes it easier for them. But I always heard, and this is just more educational for this podcast, and I agree with it, is sometimes you tell your story at the very beginning, but sometimes it's better. What Rilla and what I saw in this YouTube video of Sebastian talking about is what they found in analytics is that telling your company story at the end, even sometimes after you give the quote, like it's going to cost $15,500 for a new GF roof, and then tell your company story, again, putting that piece at the very end or showcasing why they should choose you because of your company story at the end of the presentation, you want to be remembered, right? And a lot of times the last thing you talk about is what you remember the most. So Stefan had he opened up Company Cam, showed him all the Company Cam. There's a little mold starting. It's nothing to be concerned about in the inner part of your attic. These are some pop nails. He went over some shingles that were blown off, things like that. So he shared the photos through Company Cam, and then he opened up Ingage, and he has a 23-page, or at least 5 months ago, it was a 23-page deck on Ingage, and he puts ProjectMapIt as the very last page. So he's swiping through, he's telling the story. By that time, he'd already known that he was competing against another JF presidential certified award winner, and then a person that's lowballing, right? Like, $3,000 less than what the other two were quoting them, which every contractor knows that happens. So by the time he got to the 22nd page, the next page was our map. And he's like, the last page is my favorite page for 2 reasons. The first reason is because it's the last page, so the presentation's over and you don't have to listen to me gab anymore. He's like, but I think you're going to see why you should choose us over the competition. And he swipes left. The Engage map, ProjectMapIt pops up, and out of the wife's mouth was, she said, I don't want to offend anyway. She said, like, quote, Jesus Christ, is that all the work you've done in our area? And Stefan was like, actually, it's probably not even all of it, but yeah, this is a map of all the projects that we've done. And he was able to click on our map, a little button that zooms in, it geolocates where you're sitting and locates it right in the middle of the map. And so there were a couple pins around it, which he'd already known that there were a couple pins that they've done in her local area. And so he started clicking on the pins, and the lady was like, this is awesome. Like, I love, like, she out of her mouth, I was like, proud daddy, like, it was pretty cool because she didn't know I was ProjectMap at all, but she's like, oh my God, that's so awesome. Like, this is really cool. Like the other companies didn't have this. And he was able to show the reviews. They have a whole bunch of reviews. And again, right, remember that $3,000 lowballer estimate that came up? People are willing to spend 31% more on a project if they have good reviews. So him showing those reviews really helped pay a little bit. And then the other thing that our product helped do is she was trying to choose between pewter and charcoal black, GF Timberline HTZ. And he clicked on a little filter button that said pewter, opened up a couple pins, showed pictures of it, then went to charcoal black, did the same thing. And again, out of the woman's mouth was like, honey, I'm telling you, this is really cool. Like the shingle board doesn't do justice of what these pictures does. And her and her husband were able to say like, yeah, pewter was the way. They were already leaning towards pewter, but she said being able to see those pictures on an actual roof speaks a lot more than just that shingle board outside. So leveraging, with Ingage and ProjectMapIt together, you are literally outshining the other estimates that are going out, unless they're also using Ingage and ProjectMapIt, which most people, probably not, right? We've got about 400 people that are using ProjectMapIt, and there's 180,000 roofers in the world, right, in the United States. So point being, you always want to be remembered. Ingage provides the visual aspect and the videos and the imagery and the engaging like pop-up windows that come up on Ingage. All of that stuff keeps the attention of that homeowner, and they're going to retain all the information that you're providing. And then ProjectMapIt is just the icing on the cake, right? It's like, this is why you should choose us. We have 500 reviews. Here they all are. Here's some pictures. Oh, and by the way, we've done 15 jobs in your local area. All of that helps you close deals. Hands down, without a doubt. No joke. I've heard it. I've been around for I was the first ever employee. I've heard it from all the contractors that I've had a hand in, which is probably about 90% of our people.
And you were at that kitchen table. You heard it in person, live, in the moment.
I finally told the lady, I was like, I have to tell you something, because I was just so proud. I was like, that map is my product. I'm one of the owners of the ProjectMapIt map that you were looking at. She goes, it's awesome. Like that's a deal changer. And just to be clear, Stefan did close that deal. He did close that deal.
That's what we like to hear. So Steve, as we look at the coming months, we're at the end of 2023, we're staring at 2024. What is a trend that you think sales leaders and business owners should be focused on right now to prepare themselves?
The trend is homeowners, the homeowners that are buying properties and looking for home improvement projects are millennials. So the expectation of
your buy fixer-uppers. We got no money. We got to buy fixer-uppers.
So that's, and it sounds like you did that research as well. I did a ton of research before this certainty event.
I'm a millennial homeowner, so I lived it.
But you're exactly right? Millennials aren't buying brand new homes. They are buying fixer-uppers. And I think one of the statistics, I have it on my Ingage slide deck that I used yesterday presenting, but 45% of the fixer-upper is a new roof. I think 40% is a new bathroom. So the idea of, I was talking to a lady that said I kind of made fun of it. And then she goes, we actually do that. And I felt sort of bad, but she has, the old flip book with Polaroid pictures or pictures in the book. And that's how they present. I'm like, you got to present digitally. At the end of the day, that is the trend. The trend is you need to find yourself a tech stack. So again, the recommendation is look at what you already have and figure out how you can leverage that technology more, because more than likely you're not leveraging it to its full potential. Automation of emails that go out, getting in front of the customer before your reps even go out, things of that nature. And all of that probably can be done with a CRM if you don't have a CRM. I'm lucky enough to be part of a group called RT3. Have you ever heard of them, Pam? It's the roofing technology think tank. So it's like 50 people or 100 people, something like that. We get together and it's put on, it's not put on. I don't want to say that. Karen Edwards is the one that runs it, but they're really cool. And we go to different innovative, we went to, I forget what it was. It was a big commercial manufacturing company not too long ago in Wisconsin, about a month and a half ago or whatever. But there's different, what I'm trying to get out of this, I'm bumbling a little bit, I'm sorry, but there's tiers of contractors, right? There's the contractor that's just starting off, and you're not going to go buy a $20,000. You're not going to go to you're probably not going to be going to a website, a marketing agency that's $20,000 to build a new website, right? You're going to start off at a lower tier website and slowly graduate, right? So there are different tiers. So whatever tier you're in, are you in that new stage? Are you at the 6 million mark trying to get to 10 million? And if so, what technology can you leverage to get you to that next level?
Yeah, definitely. And I always think that people need to like use your resources in your network to figure out what that is. Like a lot of your manufacturers have great suggestions for what tech you need to have depending on where you are.
And you over at Engage and me over at ProjectMapIt, you have great vendor program, right? You guys have Hatch, you have a ton of great companies. So for us, we live on a website. So obviously I have 3 partnerships of website companies, marketing agencies. I have like all 3 only build websites for contractors, but I have a tier 1, a tier 2, and a tier 3 website company. So if you're trying to get to that, if you're at 6 million, trying to get 10 million, go to Ascend Digital, Michael Stearns. So I think it is I applaud all the software companies like you, like us, everybody that's doing it, which is most software companies in this industry that align themselves with other great tech companies so that you can help educate and move the needle or move that contractor to the next tier, if you will.
Well, Steve, thank you so much for joining us today. I really appreciated having you here.
It's always a pleasure. I hate saying this, but I'm going to say it. Ingage is definitely our best partnership. We love working with you guys because of people like you, Pam. I obviously work a lot with Cody Carnes and obviously Charlie and I are going to be seeing each other a lot more for the ones that he's going to. So it's a pleasure. And honestly, I always say it because really our 2 systems, the collaboration piece and the synergies that our 2 systems bring, it's a no-brainer at that point.
Yeah. We love working with you guys as well.
Yay. You're just saying that because I said it.
Thanks for listening to the Engaged podcast. Be sure to visit engage.io for more information on how to create, share, and measure your way to success. If you like the Engaged podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us on Spotify or Amazon Music. Until next time.